Welcome back, everyone. I am so incredibly pumped for today's explainer, because honestly, we're looking at what is probably the most massive technological shift in modern medical history. We are walking the ultimate clinical tightrope today. On one side, medical breakthroughs that literally sound like science fiction, and on the other, the incredibly real, deeply human issue of patient safety. So we've got to ask the big question: is AI in healthcare an absolute miracle or just a mirage?
Okay, let's dive into this. Just think about this staggering true story for a second. So, after 17 different human specialists completely failed to figure out what was wrong with their son, a mother just plugged his symptoms into ChatGPT. And guess what? It correctly identified his rare condition. Literally, 17 highly trained doctors missed it, and an algorithm nailed it. It stepped in as this incredibly successful diagnostic second opinion, right when the traditional standard of care fell short. I mean, this just perfectly captures the sheer, undeniable power of AI in medicine right now. It's no longer just, scheduling appointments. It is actively stepping into the diagnostic arena.
Here is our clinical chart for today's explainer. Number 1, the diagnostic superpower. 2, the accountability question. 3, AI as your therapist. 4, the echo chamber effect. 5, decoding our pets. And 6, the ultimate clinical co-pilot.
Section 1. The diagnostic superpower. The pace of innovation in AI diagnostics right now is, well, it's breathtaking. It's totally flipping our whole concept of preventative medicine on its head. We're talking about shifting the standard of care by 10 to 15 years. Actually, researchers just took frozen blood samples from about 50,000 healthy individuals in the UK. These were banked between 2006 and 2010, and they unleashed AI on this massive dataset. And what it did was uncover these deeply hidden patterns across 4 specific blood proteins. That let the AI predict early dementia a full decade or more before any physical symptoms even showed up. In the world of Alzheimer's, where early detection is quite literally the only way current treatments work, this is an absolute game changer.
And honestly, it gets even more precise. Recent studies are showing that AI has hit this mind-blowing 98.2% sensitivity and specificity rate in diagnosing certain cancers. And how is it pulling that off? Well, it's not magic, right? It's just pure data. When analyzing medical imaging like CT scans or MRIs, the AI is picking up on microscopic visual signals and pixel variations that our human eyes completely miss. It's basically seeing a layer of biological reality that is totally invisible to us.
And we are already seeing this save lives in real time. Just look at this protocol from a company called Viz.ai. When a patient rolls into the ER with a suspected stroke, every single minute is absolutely crucial. You literally lose 1 million neurons a minute during a stroke. But with this AI protocol, the ER doctor uploads the CT scan, the AI instantly detects the stroke, and boom, it immediately alerts and mobilizes the entire stroke team. The neurologist, the CT techs, everybody. It cuts out the middleman and saves precious minutes. You know the saying in neurology, time is brain? Well, AI is buying us time.
Section 2. The accountability question.
Now, we do have to step back into the clinical reality of the present for a minute. Think about it. If a human doctor makes a fatal error, there's a clear legal process, right? There's malpractice insurance, a medical board. There is accountability. But if you upload your symptoms to ChatGPT and it spits back a treatment recommendation that actively harms you, who exactly do you sue? You can't exactly drag OpenAI into medical malpractice court. The liability just kind of vanishes into the cloud. So the crucial point is this: accuracy without accountability is incredibly dangerous. And harm doesn't always have to mean some fatal misdiagnosis. Let's say an AI analyzes your scan and flags a totally benign, harmless tumor as a massive, urgent risk. That false positive causes the patient severe, unnecessary anxiety. And it doesn't stop there. It leads to a whole cascade of extra-invasive testing, radiation for more scans, and massive medical bills. In the clinical world, that unnecessary panic and the resulting harm, what we call iatrogenic harm, which is harm caused by the medical process itself, that is a very real, measurable patient safety issue.
Section 3. AI as your therapist.
So recently, a young woman on TikTok actually went viral for having what she called a healing conversation with ChatGPT. She literally asked the AI to pretend to be her financial anxiety. And the crazy thing? The AI delivered this devastatingly accurate, highly personalized reflection of her deepest fears. But why are people turning to a screen for therapy in the first place? Well, because we are right in the middle of a global mental health crisis. Look at this data. Roughly 1 billion people globally need care right now.
But a staggering 85% of those people will never see a therapist. I mean, we only have about 13 therapists for every 100,000 people on Earth. So there is this desperate, urgent race to develop AI treatment models, simply because the human supply literally cannot meet the global demand.
Now, what's really interesting about this phenomenon is how susceptible our brains are to this technology. We kind of tend to think falling in love with an AI is this brand new modern concept, right? But researchers at MIT actually coined the ELIZA effect way back in the 1960s. They built this super simple basic chatbot that literally just reflected questions back to users, and people immediately felt a deep empathic connection to it. It turns out the biological bar to make a human feel connected to a computer system is actually incredibly low.
Section 4. The echo chamber effect.
Because of that low bar, human therapists are raising massive red flags right now about patients using base models like ChatGPT to treat serious psychiatric conditions. See, large language models are fundamentally designed to be agreeable. They exist to give you answers based on your input, so if you have toxic biases or deeply distorted beliefs, the AI just mirrors them right back to you, trapping you in this highly personalized echo chamber. A human therapist's actual job is to challenge you. And beyond that, true healing requires human connection on a physiological level. You need emotional attunement. You literally need the firing of mirror neurons and physical co-regulation to rewire a traumatized nervous system. And a computer simply cannot biologically co-regulate with you.
And the clinical warnings for sure don't stop there. Think about it. If you're depressed because you are isolated, interacting with a glowing screen at 4 a.m. is literally feeding the exact problem you're trying to solve. But honestly, from a patient safety standpoint, the biggest blind spot here is data privacy. Doctors and human therapists are bound by strict medical privacy laws, like HIPAA. But when you pour your deepest, darkest traumas into an unregulated chatbot, you are essentially creating a highly detailed data profile of your deepest insecurities. And that incredibly sensitive information can be stored, analyzed, and eventually sold to advertising companies who can then target you based on your precise psychological vulnerabilities. No way you want that, right?
Section 5. Decoding our pets. Okay, let's lighten the mood just a bit and look at how this crazy pattern recognition is making its way into veterinary medicine. So how does this actually work? Well, it starts with the smartphone that's already sitting in your pocket. Your phone's microphone captures acoustic data, like the precise pitch, tone, and frequency of a dog's bark or a cat's meow. And at the exact same time, computer vision is analyzing their physical movement. You know, the specific way a dog is flapping its ears or shifting its weight. The AI then takes those combined signals and cross-references them against massive databases to instantly translate whether that animal is experiencing stress, hunger, excitement, or boredom.
But the true revolution here isn't just figuring out if your dog wants a treat. Because animals literally can't tell us where it hurts, they instinctively hide their illnesses until it's often too late. So AI's ability to decode these microsignals, like a slight change in vocal pitch or a super subtle shift in posture, means we'll soon be diagnosing animal illness long before the physical symptoms fully present themselves. It is going to completely transform veterinary care as we know it.
Section 6. The ultimate clinical co-pilot.
So how do we safely marry this rapid, mind-blowing innovation with the absolute necessity of the human touch? Well, imagine presenting to the ICU with severe pneumonia. Instead of just getting a generic broad-spectrum treatment, the AI instantly analyzes your specific genomic data. It cross-references your entire lifetime medication history and then recommends a highly personalized, incredibly precise antibiotic tailored specifically to your unique biology. And this brilliantly illustrates the real power here. It instantly offloads the crushing cognitive workload of sifting through thousands of data points, which frees the clinician up to actually focus on you, the patient.
The consensus coming from the clinical forefront right now is incredibly clear. AI should never, ever replace doctors. No algorithm on Earth can replace genuine human healing. AI is absolutely best utilized as the ultimate clinical co-pilot, a powerful tool designed to massively enhance precision while aggressively preserving that vital, deeply human doctor-patient connection. Which brings us to a final thought to ponder today. As this technology becomes increasingly capable of diagnosing our physical bodies and mirroring our innermost minds, where do we draw the line? Where exactly is the boundary between medical innovation and our fundamental biological need for human care? Thank you so much for exploring this explainer with me today. I highly encourage you to critically evaluate your own boundaries with healthcare tech. Keep asking questions and keep learning. I'll catch you on the next one.